Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, at whatever time you'll be watching this particular video. So we are looking at leadership, management, and governance. And my name is Koamvulule Simon. I'll be taking you through the 14 principles of management. The 14 principles of management. And these were the principles which were formulated by a man called Henri Fayol. So Henri Fayol is actually the one who is known as the father of modern management. And he was born on 29th July 1841 and he died on 19th November 1925. And he was a French mining engineer and is regarded as the father of modern management because he developed a general theory of business administration, which is known as Fayolism. And because of how effective it was, people actually started adopting it, and actually he is now widely known as the one who came up with what we call the administrative theory of management. And this theory just emphasizes on the importance of management in organizations. Actually, Henry Fayol is a proponent of what Dr. John C. Maxwell always says, that everything rises and falls on leadership. But for him, he said one of the most important things that an organization must have is a proper management system. And this proper management system can only be had if the organization and its managers are following what we call the 14 principles of management. So let's get into it. What is the first principle of management that we have? The first one is called division of work. And division of work simply states that when employees are skilled, they must be put in the right job, and we must make sure that they specialize and they are motivated, which now increases the output, their efficiency, and their effectiveness. So this principle just states that you must put people where they belong, put them in the right job where they are specialized. And when you put them there, it means they are going to be motivated and they are going to be people who are going to do their best. So what division of work simply means is that you must put someone where they belong. For example, in the hospital, if a nurse is specialized in, maybe they got a specialty in midwifery, it means that when you are putting them where to work, you make sure that they work from the labor ward. This is going to help them specialized, improve their skills, be motivated, which now will add to the efficiency and effectiveness, which is going to enable the organization to achieve its goals. So division of work simply means put employees in the right job where they are specialized and where their skills are going to be used so that they become more efficient. The next one is authority. And authority just means a manager must have the ability to give orders. But remember that authority comes with responsibility. So for example, when a person has been charged with the authority of being a ward manager or a nurse in charge, it means that this person has the authority to actually give orders to the nurses that work under him or her. So for example, the nurse in charge is the one who is responsible to tell people what they are going to do throughout the day, to give them roles and responsibilities. For example, they can say, you are going to do the vitals today. The other nurse, you are going to be the one who is administering medication today. The other one is going to be given to to be responsible of writing and implementing the nursing care plan. So that is what we call authority. This is the major principle, because if you are a manager and you do not have you do not have authority, it means you are not the manager or the leader of that group. So this is a very important principle of management. The next one is the one which we call discipline. And we are saying this must be upheld. You know, the people or the members of an organization must be disciplined, and they must follow and respect the rules and guidelines in accordance with formal and informal agreements. So, for example, at a workplace, there's what we call the code of ethics or the code of conduct. And this is the one which actually explains how a person must conduct themselves in a workplace, and this must be followed. For example, confidentiality in nursing. This is one of the things that is upheld as a measure of discipline, which means a nurse must not just disclose information about a patient anyhow. They must uphold the principle of confidentiality. And also they must look clean, they must speak with respect, and follow formal protocols if they want to, say something or do something. That is called discipline. Reporting to work on time and making sure that they do and uphold their responsibilities. Number four is a very wonderful principle which is called unity of command. And this principle states that employees must have only one supervisor. So for example, if they are working in a ward which is called the medical ward, it means that they must only have one supervisor, who is the ward manager or the nurse in charge of the medical ward. Those working in the surgical ward, they must have only one supervisor, who is the nurse in charge of the surgical ward. And all these must work under the same goals, objectives, and they must be aware of the objectives that they want to achieve. So they only must have one supervisor. Beautiful, excellent, amazing, awesome, fantastic. Number 5, the principle is called unity of direction. And unity of direction simply states that teams with similar objectives must work under the same manager and same plan to ensure that an action is properly coordinated. So this one is talking about direction. Teams with similar objectives must work under the same manager and the same plan to ensure that an action is properly coordinated. So for example, these are people who are working in the labor ward. They must have the same plan, the same manager, and the same objectives. For example, if one of the objectives is set to have 0 fetal and maternal deaths in the labor ward, it means that every member of that ward must be aware of that goal or the plan that they have put across, and they must work under the same manager so that they can achieve their objectives. If you have a question, please just throw it in the comment box and I'll be able to respond to you. Number 6, subordination of individual interest to the general interest. What this one states is that the interests of one employee should not be allowed to be more important than those of the team. And this is usually difficult. So for example, if someone wants to go for a vacation for 6 months, but because of the number of staff is not enough and we can only allow them to go for a month, it means that they should not put their own interests first, but they should put the interests of the organization first. So instead of going for 6 months, they must follow what they have been told to only go for a vacation for a month because of the number of staff that are on the ward. So this is a very important principle. Always put the interest of the organization first. That's what this principle states. Henri Fayol was a very intelligent man, and this is one of the major principles that you must follow. Number 7, remuneration. And this principle states that employee satisfaction depends on fair remuneration for everyone, and it includes financial and non-financial incentives. What this means is that you must make sure that your employees are paid according to the agreement in the contract if it is on contract base. So, and you must make sure they receive their benefits. If we talk about things such as, financial incentives, which is their salary, their bonuses, their benefits, you must make sure that they receive all these. And the non-financial incentives, we are talking about things that make, the environment to be suitable for them. For example, things like Wi-Fi, simple things like sofas and everything. You must make sure that it is an enabling environment for the workers, and that is known as remuneration. If in the contract it is stated that they must receive fuel allowance, make sure they receive that fuel allowance, because that is what makes that employee to be satisfied, to have what we call job satisfaction. Number 8 is called centralization. And centralization just says closeness to the decision-making process is usually dependent on the size of the company, or we can say that the decision-making authority is in the top level management, and this management must be able to communicate their decisions to all other levels. That is called centralization. So for example, when the chief nursing officer makes a decision in the hospital, it must be communicated to the middle level managers, who are then going to communicate to the lower level managers, who are now going to communicate to the staff members or employees. That is called centralization. Beautiful, excellent, amazing, awesome, fantastic. I'm sure even as you are learning, you are seeing yourself passing. You are having that morale of saying, oh, I didn't understand this in class, but now I'm getting the concept. I'm getting the concept. And if you are getting the concept, I just want you to go to the comment box and say, I'm getting the concept. I'm getting the concept. Number 9 is scalar chain. And scalar chain simply states that employees must be aware where they stand in the organization's hierarchy or chain of command. For example, if someone is given a role as the nurse in charge, it means that the organization must be so clear to the point that this person should be aware their scope of authority and their limitation of authority. What we mean is that this person must know what they can and cannot do, what their roles and responsibilities are, so that in everything that they are doing, they must be able to be aware what their responsibilities are and what is not their responsibility. That is called scalar chain. For example, the nurse in charge of the surgical ward must know that they are responsible for the ward affairs of the surgical ward, but they are not responsible for the ward affairs of the medical ward, because that is not under their jurisdiction. Beautiful, excellent, amazing, awesome, fantastic. Number 10 is order, order, order. And this principle states that you must place everything and everyone in its place. the right man in the right place, and the workplace must be clean, tidy, and safe for employees. What this one means is that everything should be in the right place at the right time, and every employee must work in the right place at the right time. That is called order. Things such as drugs and equipments must be put in the right place at the right time all the time. For example, we have what we call the medication trolley. On the medication trolley, you must make sure that there is a medication and not necessarily things such as a bedpan on the medication trolley. Then that is being disorderly. And this place, which is the workplace, must be clean. Make sure that it is clean. That's why you do dam dusting and everything. And you must make sure it is safe for employees as a manager. Number 11 is equity. And this principle states that a manager must exercise fairness to staff at all times, and a combination of kindness and justice towards employees. So you must not mistake this to what we call equality. Equality simply means treating people the same equally all the time. But in management, we use a principle called equity, which is you treat people fairly according to the prevailing circumstances. So, for example, if you have male nurses and female nurses, you find that female nurses are given 1 day off every month, which is called Mother's Day, according to the labor laws in Zambia. So a female worker or employee is entitled to 1 day, which is called Mother's Day, any day which they start their menstrual cycle. So that is called equity. But there is nothing like Father's Day for male employees because it is equity. Okay, it is equity. Number 12 is the one which is called stability of tenure of personnel. This simply means employees need to be given time to settle into their jobs. And you must strive to minimize employee turnover, which means you shouldn't fire people anyhow. You must let people settle in their jobs. Number 13 is called initiative, which says employees should be given the necessary level of freedom to create and carry out plans, initiative, but within the limits of authority and discipline. So give freedom to your employees to do things in the way that they see is the best way to do them. But make sure it is helping to achieve the organizational goals, and it must be done within their limits of authority. Number 14, esprit de corps. Harmony is a great strength to an organization, and promotion of a team spirit and unity must be vigorously implemented by the manager. So ensure that you promote a team spirit, you bring unity in the organization. So this is going to prevent people to be divided in a word and to work as a team. Then these are the 14 principles that you need to know. So for further information, if you'd like more lessons from me, these are my contacts. You can contact me on WhatsApp, which is 0973643182. And on Facebook, you can follow Koamvulule Simon, on LinkedIn, on TikTok, and even on a direct call. Those are my contact details. And then we end on a quote which says, "Those who never give up will always go up." So I wrote this in my 4th book. I'm an author, and my 4th book is called 20 Ways to Build Your Self-Esteem. And one of the most important things there which I said is, those who never give up will always go up. So you must never give up. Hold on to your dream. Hold on to those particular things that you are doing until you achieve success. Because successful people, they fail, they fall down, they cry, but what makes them successful is that they never give up. Bye bye.